Hey Rays, KJ here, getting ready for a great weekend. My husband is going to be turning 70 on Sunday, and you know and I know that I cannot resist news on the big fat ass chinster there. I've got to go through the document and then I'm going to sign on out. This is for you, Rays. There is a motion to strike the death penalty based on relative culpability, says John Pryor. All right, well, let's see what he's got to say. Comes now the defendant, Chad Daybell, and through undersigned counsel, submits this motion to strike the death penalty based on relative culpability. During the trial of Mr. Daybell's co-defendant, Lori Hussey Vallow, the state consistently argued that Miss Vallow was the most culpable party to the alleged conspiracy that led to the deaths of Tylee Ryan, J.J. Vallow, and Tamara Daybell. As the state repeatedly argued, Miss Vallow set the conspiracy in motion. She manipulated both Alex Cox and Chad Daybell, and she remained in charge of her plan throughout. As the state plainly put it, Lori manipulated Chad through emotional and sexual control, and Chad was not going to act without Lori saying so. Well, let me tell you something. Chad Daybell can kiss my country ass. That son of a bee, he wants to put this off on his hooker. I'll tell you what, if he's a real man, he'd stand up, but he ain't a real man. As such, per the state's own presentation of evidence and arguments in the trial of Lori Vallow, Mr. Daybell has lesser culpability than his co-defendant. I mean, let's just get real. His wife was murdered by his hand right on her own damn marriage bed. Who did not face the death penalty. Miss Vallow didn't. And even when two co-defendants are equally culpable, it is unconstitutional and unacceptable to subject one of them to the most extreme punishment available, while the other did not face that possibility. Well, let me tell y'all what. Mark Means secured her getting that death penalty off the table because he's able to put her ass up there in the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. If Chad wants to go down that road, he needs to talk about his damn freaking death experiences or something. His freaking brain damage. And I mean down there too. Therefore, Mr. Daybell should not face more extreme punishment than the co-defendant that the state itself has alleged to be more culpable. Y'all, come on. Lori the Hussey had a trial. The focus was on her. Obviously, they are going to bring in who was conspiring with her. But my goodness, they had to focus in on that. And then John Pryor wants to come in here and file a motion and start quoting what the state said about the Hussey. Give me a break. Therefore, Mr. Daybell should not face more extreme punishment. And then he goes on to talk about the 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution and the 13th, as well as the legal authority cited below. Mr. Daybell respectfully requests that the court strike the death penalty as a sentencing option so that Mr. Daybell faces a maximum punishment in line with the Husseys. So what's he saying? What is he saying? That because she got out of the death penalty, that his client, he just went along with everything because she was leading him around by that little itty bitty gherkin? Give me a break. Then they go into the factual and procedural background of it. Y'all, I knew this was coming. I knew it. I thought he would. He uses culpability. But I'm telling y'all what, I've said it time and time again. This inconsistent verdict stuff. And how they were going to throw that out there. Well, look, the Hussey got the death penalty taken off the table. And it's only fair that you do the same for this damn asshole. But they go down this whole laundry list, y'all. They go down this whole laundry list of what the state was saying in Lori's trial. I mean, we're fixing to go down memory lane. Here's some of the quotes that the state had said in the trial. Chad is not going to act with Lori saying so. Maybe they had a typo there. Maybe they meant is not going to act with Lori saying so. Okay, well, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on where Lori was following that damn asshole around. Lori is the conduit of information to Alex. Alex does what Lori tells him. Well, I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. But also, Chad is sitting there in freaking tears with Lori giving Alex a blessing. Oh, Alex, and all of them's crying, orgasmic in their damn stupid ass blessing. Lori uses sex to manipulate Chad, and Chad seeks confirmation from Lori repeatedly. John Pryor says the state said at Lori's trial. Well, of course. Chad wanted confirmation that them legs were spread so he could dive in with a freaking damn 2x4. Chad's telling Lori what she wants to hear. She reinforces him with sexual behavior. Well, let's just stop there for a minute. She reinforces him with sexual behavior? Yes. Well, at the beginning, Chad is telling. He's freaking telling Lori what she wants to hear. And she is feeding off of him, and he's feeding off her. They're even, Steven. By God, they both need their asses stomped. Lori Vallow is telling Alex Cox what to do. In these messages, you never see Alex tell her what to do. She's telling him what to do. And I guarantee you, Chad Daybell opened up his shed with his pickaxe and all that shovel, the freaking fire and all that stuff. He's damn letting Alex onto his property, and he's cleaning up the mess. Excuse me. And then John Pryor gets it wrong here. He says Melanie Gibb responds. Well, it was Melanie Pulowski responds. Okay, Captain. Why does she say okay, Captain? Because Lori is in charge. And yes, Lori was in charge of Melanie Pulowski and Alex Cox. But Chad was in charge of Zulema. And Melanie Gibb, do you think Melanie Gibb was going to do every damn thing for her dang mother there? Melanie Gibb being Phoebe? No, let me tell you what. Chad Daybell is a coward. A freaking yellow-bellied coward. Then John Pryor says, this is something else that was said in Lori's trial. What does Chad say? Just grab me by the storm and I'll follow you to the ends of the universe. Not will you follow me, Lori. I will follow you. Well, I'll tell you what. Lori sure as hell followed Chad wherever Chad... Did he come and stay in Arizona? No. She brought her ass to Idaho where he wanted her so he could have easy access to that nasty, hot, rotten tuna. In sum, the consistent core of the state's case has been that Lori set a conspiracy in motion, that she manipulated Chad Daybell and Alex Cox to partake in that conspiracy, and that she was in charge throughout her plan. Based on the state's presentation of evidence and arguments, Miss Vallow was convicted on all counts, but she did not face the death penalty. Only Mr. Daybell, who the state has asserted was not going to act without Lori saying so. Despite the state repeatedly asserting that Lori Vallow sexually and emotionally manipulated Chad Daybell in pursuit of her aims, Mr. Daybell faces a more severe punishment than Miss Vallow. Well, I'll tell y'all what. Chad Daybell needs to really sit down, go back to memory lane there where he's on his own marriage bed, killing his own damn wife. He can go to hell. That's what I'm talking about. He wants to blame it all on the hussy. She's nothing more than a hooker and a freaking concubine. She was not the master manipulator in all of this, the master head of the cult. They were even Steven. Despite the state's consistent argument that Lori groomed Alex Cox, and I agree, continued to manipulate him, then handed her son off to be killed by Alex, only Chad Daybell faces the death penalty. Despite the state's presentation of evidence that Chad will follow Lori, not the other way around. Only the person alleged to be manipulated, follower, is facing the possibility of a death sentence. Well, I'll tell you what. There ain't nothing between a woman's legs. I don't give a damn what she looks like, how young, whatever it is. It's not worth any man doing what Chad Daybell did. And you know what? I'll tell you something. Chad Daybell, he thought with his Johnson the whole time. That's on him. This has nothing to do with Lori manipulating Chad so much that he couldn't think clearly. He couldn't think clearly because he was freaking horny. The U.S. and Idaho constitutions both prohibit cruel and unusual punishment. Well, I'll tell you what, that's very interesting because I think it was cruel and unusual what they did to those children, to Charles Vallow and to Tamara Daybell. I mean, it just flips it right on the head there, y'all. Under each punishment is cruel and unusual if it is excessive in relation to either the circumstances and nature of the crime itself or the personal characteristics of the offender. So what they're saying is you can't give somebody the death penalty if it's not as equal as what happened. Folks, Chad Daybell's a serial killer. He is a serial killer. He enjoyed every damn bit of it. And I don't give a rat's ass if it was Alex or Chad Daybell pulling back that pickaxe. It don't make a damn bit of difference to me. Given the unique, harsh nature of the sentence, capital punishment must be limited to those offenders whose extreme culpability makes them the most deserving of execution, and Chad Daybell deserves his freaking death penalty case, whether he gets it or not. He needs to be puckering in that ass right now, worrying whether he's going to go get in front of a firing squad or get a lethal injection, because I guarantee y'all, their victims suffered. This was egregious. This was absolutely evil and cruel. And for them to say it's got to be balanced, they can kiss my country ass. A crime may be one that inflicted hurt and horror on the victim, and that caused revulsion in society and the jury that represents it, but may nevertheless be one for which death is disproportionate. And he cites case law on it. Well, I'll tell you what, if any juror, I cannot imagine these jurors that were at Lori's trial that had to see those pictures, had to see what that was done to those children, to Tammy. They had to take Tammy up out of the grave. She was wearing her, oh, y'all, it's awful to even think about it. And to think that at Chad Daybell's trial that these jury members could not proportionately say what they're looking at here and what happened here makes it to where Chad Daybell should get the death penalty. Folks, this guy, this John Pryor, he's got to do it. He's got to do it. I understand. He's got to do it. But the bottom line is it ain't going to fly, y'all. I know I said that they'll probably take the death penalty off the table because of the inconsistent verdicts. But if he's using the culpability argument, it ain't going to work. He needs to go, and which he does in the second filing. He does talk about it as unconstitutional and arbitrary and capricious to continue seeking Mr. Daybell's death when in relation to the fact that his co-conspirator, the hussy, didn't get the death penalty. Well, she had an ace in the hole with Mark Means. She was able to fake her ass and malinger her ass away up there in Idaho Department of Health and Welfare facility up there. And she was able to get that on the record as a mitigating reason. Chad Daybell could learn lessons from that. It seems like Idaho is willing to do anything but enforce their death penalty statutes anyway. Then they go into different case law and all of that. It talks about other cases, as pointed out, the arbitrary and capricious in violation of Mr. Daybell's due process rights, all that bullshit. The conclusion from John Pryor, though, y'all. For the foregoing reasons, any death sentence imposed upon Chad Daybell would violate the fundamental constitutional principles requiring equal justice under the law and would be unconstitutionally disproportionate, excessive, fundamentally unfair, and arbitrary and capricious. Then Mr. Daybell respectfully requests that this court strike the state's August 5th, 2021 notice of intent to seek the death penalty pursuant to the 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution. And John Pryor can shit in one hand and hope in another. And Chad Daybell has shown his true colors time and time again. This son of a bitch went around acting like he was something, that he was a prophet. Well, he wasn't. Now he's going to try to say that it was all the hussy, and it was just awful. A grown man being led around by his little itty-bitty wiener. Give me a break, y'all. Give me a break. It just goes to show, when it comes down to it, evil intent, y'all. Evil intent. Chad and Lori had it, even Steven. And I can't wait for the state's response to this. And you know what? When the state does respond, OKJ's going to get with y'all. I got to go this weekend. I'm going to the lake. Ray's be looking Sunday. Wayne turns 70. We're going to get back together. I need time to digest this crap. Just give it a chance, y'all. I'll get back with you. I love you all. I miss you so much. I want to give you all a big hug. Have a great day. We're going to get back together soon, y'all. And keep on looking.